Good afternoon. This is a lesson that I had to learn the hard way on enabling. And please pay very close attention. When we discovered our son was a heroin addict, we just didn't know what to do. And he was still using 3 years prior to us even discovering this. So basically, for 4 years, we as parents gave him a nice, comfortable home to live in, roof over his head, food in the fridge, a car. You know, he would sometimes have part-time jobs. Most of the time he was unemployed, but we were loving, caring, and protecting him, hoping that in time he would get better and get out of this rut. It wasn't until I went to my first Learn to Cope meeting that somebody mentioned, well, home shouldn't be an option if they're using. And I thought about that. I'm like, well, that doesn't apply to me. How could I, as a parent, possibly throw my kid out of the house? But eventually I came around and I understood exactly what they were saying, because all the while I was loving and caring and protecting my son, he continued to use. So I was loving my son to death. We don't think about it that way. And many people who have never been in our shoes are going to sit there and point to, oh my God, they're going to judge you. How could you do that? Are you against people with learning disabilities? Because, you know, my son's multiply learning disabled. Or are you against people who have mental illness? My son was diagnosed with anxiety and post-traumatic stress. No, that wasn't it at all. It's just that everything I was doing, trying to help, love, care, and protect him, I was failing on every front. So now let's fast forward. We finally let him go. We gave him the choice of treatment or homelessness. He chose treatment. And when he left his rehab down in Florida, he was homeless. And he had a choice he needed to make, because we were no longer in the equation. He's on his own. Down in Florida, no job, no car, no home, no family, no friends. What are you going to do? And what he did was he got on food stamps, moved into a halfway house, started working right away. If he couldn't find a job, he was working in a labor hall where he would show up every single morning, 5:30 in the morning, to get a paycheck to be able to make his rent. And then he got a job. And then from there, he got a full-time job with benefits. And he was supporting himself. We weren't sending him money. He still didn't have a car. He walked to work. He rode his bike. He did what he needed to do. And I'll never forget when he moved into an apartment and bought his first TV. What we gave our son was his self-respect back. We taught him the lesson of personal responsibility, that it's on you. You're an adult. It's your life. You need to make the decisions. Now, let's just substitute for 1 second. I'm big government, and my son are people who believe in the entitlement culture. It's the same analogy. It's really simple. Until we decide to let people and hold them accountable for their own personal responsibility and behavior, they're never going to change. My son proved that for 4 years while we were caring for him. I hope you don't think it was unkind for what I did, because basically I gave him his life back, his self-respect, and he's much happier and much more productive in our society. So think twice before you start judging people who are the deep, dark, lowest depths of society, which I don't know how it gets any lower than an unemployed heroin addict was able to rise above it all completely on his own. We have to stop enabling people, no matter what. Toby Channon, thanks for listening.